Initiating podcast download. Prepare yourself. Put on your spandex. Lace up your boots. Wrap your wrists. Hide your razor blade. Head to gorilla position. Grease up your hair. Apply baby oil. Okay, apply more baby oil. Get into gimmick. Keep your ears open and your mouth shut. Have fun and be safe out there, brother. Welcome to Iron on Wrestling. Now your host, Gregory Iron.
Hello again, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Iron on Wrestling with Gregory Iron. I'm your host, Gregory Iron. This is episode 300. I am the handicapped hero. See, it's easier instead of saying 300 to rhyme something with 0. And also, you know, I've been a 0 most of my life. We started with an episode 0. So technically, this would be episode 301 if you wanted to get technical, but well, yeah,
episode 301. Pardon the interruption.
Okay.
Aaron Bauer's in the building.
Technically, it would be 301, but it's 300. Hi.
Hi.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too. Real good to see you.
How's
I
life?
didn't know you were going to be all shaved and wearing that baseball cap.
First of all, what? I'm not really shaved per se.
Well, they don't know that. This is an audio podcast.
Yeah, I know, but also I wear a baseball cap every week.
Yeah, that they do know. It's literally on one of the figures that you've had made.
Yeah. It's kind of a part of me.
Yeah. Why is that?
Baseball cap?
Yeah, because I know you're a big baseball guy.
No.
You know, I got a message from a guy named Tiger Rudo who said, I know you guys are big baseball guys, when I posted a video of us at the celebrity softball game.
Yeah. No, it's just, it's easier than doing my hair. And quite frankly, you know, I'm insecure about my hairline, but it's funny because I look back even like 5 years ago when I was insecure about my hairline, and it's like, wow, my hair wasn't bad. And now it is getting bad.
Yeah. What do you think that was from? Why were you insecure about your hairline when you, I don't know, actually had hair?
Well, it all goes back to childhood trauma, Aaron.
Ah.
My dad used to have a buddy named Dave who, I guess when he was like 16, he was pretty much bald, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when we go over his house when I was like 16, he'd go, "Oh, you got a receding hairline already." And I'd be like, "No, I don't." And he's like, "Yeah, right here." And like, he would just tell me he wasn't messing with me. He's like, he's dead serious. Like, you're already going bald. Like, it's not as bad as me, but you're going bald. And then it just got in my brain, and here we are, insecure about my hairline ever since 16 years old. So, yeah, that's how that works.
Cool.
Okay.
Well, I really am looking forward to this episode here. 300. It reminds me of that movie.
Never seen it.
Neither have I, but I know there was a lot of strong, muscular, vascular, shirtless men who paraded around with swords and shields.
Yeah, it was like a gladiator thing.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Gladiator. I just met her. And I'm actually really gladiator because I don't do that.
Not a good segue, but our guest this week is Alice Crowley. She is a professional wrestler. You may know her. And she also...
I remember her from last week's episode.
Yeah, well, you know, last week's didn't air.
Oh.
Because Eric, shout out to Eric, the mic was not on my end. So we recorded a whole great podcast, me and Alice, and we couldn't do anything with it. But we re-recorded it, and we're airing it this week. 2 weeks ago, she did PowerSlap, so we're going to talk about some of her pro wrestling stuff, her recent PowerSlap endeavor, and really how exactly it works and how she personally feels about it, because there's a lot of negative stuff being said about it. Yeah, you know what I mean? And listen, from an outsider perspective, looking at it, I'm not the biggest fan of watching that in the world. I think it's I don't want to say dumb, but as a wrestler who has concussions, it's guaranteed CTE. And you might be thinking, well, yeah, you're probably guaranteed to get concussions as a wrestler. No, it can happen, but it's not a guarantee. If you're getting slapped in the face, it's pretty guaranteed. But I think Alice has a few points of views that may or may not, I don't know if they'll change my perspective, but it'll help me look at it from a different perspective. So I'm interested to learn more about that this week and, discuss that in general. What's new with you? What's the haps?
Oh, there's been a lot going on. I just can't even tell you everything right now.
Okay, don't.
But yeah, I'm not going to.
Okay. What did you want to talk about this week? I know we got some questions from Patreon subscribers, patreon.com.
Yeah, I had a couple of our loyal listeners ask me what I thought the SummerSlam card would be because they said that I'm always right. I'm going to get these red hats made. It says Aaron's always right.
Why red?
Oh, it's a vibrant color. I mean, I'll get blue if you want.
I feel like maybe walking around with a red hat in this
Oh,
country
wait,
is
somebody
probably-
does that. Okay, gimmick infringement. My bad. Do people have yellow hats?
Do they?
I have never seen a yellow hat except maybe the Savannah Bananas.
Oh, yeah.
Let's
yeah.
get it on. Yellow. Yellow should be our color.
Hey, so you want to talk about the SummerSlam card?
Yeah, but there's also, I guess, another pay-per-view before there, or PLE.
Well, there's like 10 this weekend, but I wanted to sort of, usually we do this stuff in the bonus episode, but I kind of wanted to talk about Evolution because a lot of people are talking about that, the all-women pay-per-view this weekend, and since you had the idea for SummerSlam, I thought together we can also look at the card for Evolution and see, because again, people aren't very excited about this, the tickets aren't selling very well, so like maybe we could see how we would have done the card, how we could potentially fix this situation.
I like that idea. I'm just saying that this is how bad that pay-per-view is going. That PLE Evolution, is that no one asked me to predict the Evolution card.
Yeah,
I don't even think people knew it was. When is it? Saturday.
Sunday.
Okay.
Sunday.
Oh, Saturday's the main event. Saturday night's main event, right?
Yes.
Well, I know about that. Goldberg's wrestling. Gunther.
Final match. Yeah,
we don't know it's the final match, do we? Are they saying it's the final match?
That's how it's being promoted. Yeah, the final match of Goldberg.
So, my thought is, I've seen Ric Flair's final match 6 or 7 times.
Yeah.
I've seen Terry Funk's final match. I think I've seen 11 or 12 of those. So I don't have that much faith in the whole it's my final match. Even Shawn Michaels came back.
Yeah.
So I don't know if Goldberg it is his final match. I'd bill it that way to sell the tickets, but I'd still have him squash somebody for his final match.
You would bill
Goldberg
in his final match.
I know you'd like to jackhammer him.
No, though I did take a lot of inspiration from him in the backyard so that I could dub myself Gregberg.
Yeah, and you still are listed in my phone as Gregberg.
That's disgusting.
I like it.
So, we're what?
I just got a new idea for a shirt. I'll tell you when we get to that.
Okay. So we're going to answer some of your questions from patreon.com/ironwrestling, which, obviously you guys get priority over there. $3 gets you in the door on Patreon for a buttload of audio podcasts. We've been doing extended episodes as well, which last week we did an extended episode talking with Pedro DeLuca. We also explored his little mini wrestling museum in his basement with a bunch of rare independent wrestling artifacts. A lot of people were asking me to see that Pedro video unlisted. They were like, hey, I know I'm not on Patreon. I want to see this video, which not joking. Wrestlers were messaging me about it. I said, no, you have to go to Patreon. I'm not sending you this video, or go to Pedro's house. And they were not willing to do either of those things. So fuck you. You're the worst. But $3 gets you in the door. $5 gets you all the bonus video, including the exploration of Pedro's little wrestling museum in his basement. $9, you get to pick a bonus podcast subject involved in the live chat, which we actually did this past weekend. And it was very fun, very exciting. We talked.
Dude, I love Pedro, and I don't know how many people know that.
Yeah, well, Pedro,
I don't even think Pedro knew that.
Pedro does not know that. Yeah, that's something we talked about in the extended episode. He thought you hated
Pete,
him for
I
years.
love you. I always called him Pete.
He kept referring to his shoot name, but it wouldn't say what it was. What's his real name? Reveal it for everybody.
I will. Hold on, it's on this list I have on my desk.
You don't have a list on your desk.
No, I
It's
don't.
not real. $9, that's the preferred tier on Patreon. A lot of members over there. We have right now between paid subscribers and free subscribers, which, look, even if you don't want to pay right now, maybe sign up for the free tier, because every now and then we're uploading bonus episodes in the free tier that you can listen to. So, and of course, you can have dinner with us. You can podcast with us and have dinner. Patreon.com/ironwrestling. Best way to support the show. But also subscribe to the podcast wherever you download podcasts, and subscribe to the YouTube, because we keep uploading stuff to YouTube. Aaron, I know you pay attention. Have you been seeing all the weird stuff that I've been uploading to the YouTube
I've been
account?
loving it, man. I begged you for years to get more active with YouTube, and now it's finally starting to happen.
It's almost like
coming to fruition.
Yes, it's almost like I'm injured and have nothing else to do, so I just sit at home and I'm like, maybe I can find this and upload it.
Another thing I had been telling you, quit wrestling, and now you've quit wrestling, and you're uploading to YouTube. I love it, man. I'm in the golden age of Gregory Iron.
Just to give you an idea of stuff that we uploaded for free on YouTube just this week, we have pro wrestlers fighting Frankenstein and Dracula in awful promo to promote indie wrestling show from 1988, which of all the things you'll see, it is definitely one of them. And we've got a rare ECW local commercial for a thing called Tunes with a Z from the Philadelphia TV 48 back in the day. We've got Medusa wrestling for the WWF Championship on an indie show in 1991. As you know, she didn't show up into the WWF until 93. So way before that. And one that's gotten very popular over on YouTube, which Aaron actually, apparently this camera angle is the one that he recorded. Brutus Beefcake and Greg Valentine wrestle backyarders in a parking lot over on the YouTube channel.
Is Johnny in that anywhere?
He's somewhere in that crowd.
Because I kind of remember a kid being, I was introduced to a kid that was the son of the owner and was a huge wrestling fan.
Yeah.
And turns out, all these years later, it's Johnny Gargano.
Go figure. Also,
let me give Johnny a shout out.
Sure.
He did something really cool. He probably doesn't want people to know, but he did something really cool last week for a client of mine, and just everybody should know that. Much like how John Cena used to tell me, don't tell anyone that, I did this cool thing for your clients. Johnny did something cool. So much love and respect to Mr. Gargano.
He's a good man. Very good man.
Unlike you, who's an evil man.
Okay, yeah. Hopefully I get to see him soon. I know he's going to be in town for SmackDown on July 25th, so I'll get to see him sooner rather than later. But, he was the first guest on the show. Now it's show 300. And just, again, for people that want to subscribe to YouTube, get some free stuff. Back in the day, our bad cameos before other people started stealing them for their podcast and talking about them, I uploaded 20 minutes of bad pro wrestling cameos from, somewhere in the first 50-ish episodes, like Buff Bagwell, Kurt Angle, Coco Beware, one with Virgil that I don't even think we even aired or talked about, but those are all over on the YouTube right now for you to listen to. And I guess one more thing before we go to a commercial break, and then we'll go to the interview with Alice, and then we'll do all of our stuff on the back end. A friend of the show, Gerard. You remember Gerard? Blackford, yes. He drives a Blackford. I ran into him and his brother Matt.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
No,
good?
Well, it was good to see Matt.
Yeah.
I don't know about Jared so much, though, but he was there, too. And Matt...
Jared's always been a good dude to us. I don't know why we started just ribbing him all the time.
Well, because he's always mean to us.
He's good to me.
Well,
he probably doesn't like you.
Well, actually, he sent me a message not too long ago telling me about, something about how I changed his life for the better or something. And I was like, why are you lying to me right now? And I forgot that I was really helping him with diet stuff. And I was like, I guess I did help him.
What's he look like? Was he looking shredded?
Looks great.
Yeah?
He's engaged, so I'm hoping he's trying to, keep the weight off for his, upcoming
Until
wedding.
he gets married, because that's how it goes.
Yeah.
You get married, then you get fat and lazy.
But anyways, Matt walks up to me before he leaves the restaurant, and he goes, a friend of mine is a wrestler, and he says he does hardcore wrestling. He's been to Japan a bunch of times. And when I tell you what was said, and then my discussion with Matt after the fact, I know we've talked about this thing. Why the fuck do these people lie? Why are they so delusional? What brings these people to wrestling? Why do they have to do this? He goes, my wife has a friend named Dave who wrestles and goes to Japan all the time. He's a little bit older now, but he's like a hardcore wrestler. And he's got, the girl from The Exorcist? She's got that tattooed on the back of his head. He's a bald guy. And I gave him a look, like a squinty look. And then because I knew exactly who it was, because I've never heard any other wrestler described that way. And I go, what's his wrestling name? And he goes, I don't know. And coincidentally, in my timeline, I saw Cleveland Wrestling Alliance Superstar Gmo posting some crap about Gargano's catering, even though, again, we're decades removed from that. And in the comments, a guy named Dave comment and said something to the effect of you're lucky that I don't come out of retirement and make you lick Z's sack. Why? First of all, so it was Lixie Zach. Okay.
Yes.
Why is that? Why is he trying to make that his catchphrase? First of all. Second of all, as soon as I saw that, I screen capped his Facebook profile, sent it to Matt Blackford, and I go, "Is this the guy?" And he goes, "Yeah." I'm like, "This dude has never been to Japan ever, unless he bought a ticket. And when he was there, he definitely didn't wrestle. Like, he says he still actually goes to Japan." Then Matt told, hold on. Matt then told me not too long ago, this guy told him, "Come over to my house and hang out with me because I'm hanging out with Road Dogg at my house right now." Why lie about that? Where is this coming from? Why do people do this?
Liars gonna lie.
But why?
He's gonna make a great politician.
What is the point?
No, I don't know. I think they just lie. People get addicted to it.
But
There's a rush.
Like Matt said, like, well, you do a whole segment about Hulk Hogan lying. And I said, but that's like an anomaly. It's like he's an actual very successful person that for some reason still lies, even though he has probably incredibly cool stories that he could tell that could be fact-checked as correct.
Another segment that people have stolen from us.
Yes. So, like, I said that's the exception to the rule. Why do wrestlers who have, like, a little teeny tiny bit of success have to exaggerate and tell these lies and fibs and tall tales? Like, why can't people just be real with themselves? And, like, I know this happens in other aspects of life, but why wrestling? Like, what is your opinion? Because, again, I went into my rambling to Matt about it. It was like, tell me what you think.
Yeah, I just think people lie. People want to feel way more important than what they are. I know that there are times when I talk about PWO.
Yeah.
And I'll say, back when we did TV, blah, 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 blah. And I immediately have to clarify, like, hey, we weren't on the USA Network or anything, but I learned things about television by doing PWO. Because I already feel bad that I'm saying, hey, I was on TV for 6 years. Because, yes, technically I was, but it wasn't the biggest, you know what I mean?
Yeah. No.
So I feel bad about lying on that, or what I feel like people could take as lying.
Sure.
But it's true.
Yeah.
Now people just care about YouTube, so.
Right. What again, like what I told Matt, it's like it goes back to, I think we all become wrestlers because we're lacking something. But I think at some point, when you're not realistic about yourself, you might have done some cool things as a wrestler, even if you never made it out of your hometown. But, like, there's some part of these people that, I don't know, it's still not good enough for them, and they have to exaggerate what they've done and who they are so that people can think they're more successful than they are. Like, I wouldn't be able to, like, lie to myself like that to other people. Like, I think you just have to be honest and realistic with yourself. And again, we've said it before, if you want to be a local guy and you don't want to leave the city, like, that's fine. But just be realistic. And also, don't make up that you're currently sitting with one of the WWE writers and hanging out with them. And like, what if he would have came over the house? What were you going to do? Be like, oh, yep, you just missed Jesse James. He just left. So, I don't know, man. It's fucking annoying, dude. But whatever. That's my rambling about that. Let's take a break. We'll come back. We will talk to Alice Crowley about her wrestling and her power slapping, and then we will discuss some questions and maybe a little bit of SummerSlam. And
pardon the interruption.
Yeah, but
I got some breaking news.
What?
Beep, beep,
Okay.
beep, 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 beep.
All right.
This is from Ronda Rousey.
Okay. Did she text you? Did Ronda Rousey text you?
Hold on, I'm busy right now.
Okay. He's learning how to operate a phone. So breaking news, but he doesn't know how
I don't know how to get it.
Parlay the news to us.
All right, pause it for a second until I find it. All right, I just got this message from Rhonda.
Okay.
It says,
directly to you, apparently.
DM.
Okay. This kind of ties in with why do people in wrestling lie so much? Continue. Go ahead.
Well, this ties in with our guest.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
It's our guest this week, right? Not last week?
Yes, but
Okay.
also liars. Okay, continue.
Okay. Rhonda says, I honestly didn't have much respect for PowerSlap until Pauline Pita Macias became involved and convinced me to give it a chance. I fought this girl when I was 11, but we've been friends ever since. What a roller coaster of emotions. I've never felt so conflicted. It's amazing, and I hate it. I'm so proud of Pita, but just as scared for her. Well, at least I was until I saw her in action. That girl is tiny, but she fucking wails. She takes the competition seriously, but not herself. Can't wait to watch you judo chop your way to the top, Pita.
Okay, and this is how someone really texts in real life. She texts that much to you?
It's broken up into 2 texts.
It was unprompted as well? She just randomly said that to you?
Yeah, it came into my phone. It's
okay.
on it.
What was the last text that you sent to her before she sent that to you? Just out of curiosity.
Oh, I got this text here that said,
I
text her, can you believe I fucking have to work with this guy who doesn't hit record when he hosts a podcast? We've only been doing this for 5 years. What should I do?
6 years. It's going on 6 years.
It would be 6 years if half those damn episodes would be found. We got a year of episodes that weren't recorded. Not straight, but, just like in year 1, we had like 8 or 9. Year 2, we had 4. Year 3, we had 7. But that was COVID, I think. So anyway, go ahead now. You wanted to go to the ads? Or
let's go to the ads, and then when we come back, we will put you on over to the interview with professional wrestler and power slapper, Alice Crowley.
Alice Crowley. Dun, dun, dun.
Okay. Hey, how do you feel about T-shirt designs by AI?
No, that's it's bullshit. Is what I think.
You know what? Not a T-shirt design, but literally, someone in because my 20-year class reunion's coming up in 2 weeks, and I'm not going, by the way.
Why not?
But, because it's fucking stupid and unorganized, and also now, because I said to this girl that I went to high school with, so we can make fun of it. It's someone posted. No one wanted to go on this boat thing that they wanted to do because they all want to bring their families.
A boat?
Yeah.
For your class reunion?
It was going to be on the Good Time 3 for a couple hours,
which
also I didn't really like.
Was that what me and Brinks did the promo in front of?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it was back in the day for Evolution 3. So a lot of people were getting mad and they wanted to do something where they could bring their families. And so now it's going to be outside in a park. And which also I immediately sent the flyer to this girl, Nicole Warren, who I went to homecoming with. And I said, you remember all the 20-year reunions on TV shows where, they all meet up at the park with all their fucking families? Wow, what a cool reunion. And this girl who posted the poster for it says, look at me getting all fancy and shit. You're welcome. Because she made this poster clearly with AI. 20-year reunion. Let's ram into good times again because it's the Rhodes Rams. Okay. One of the things that it says on here is not change of clothes, which I don't know why you would need to bring a change of clothes to this park, but there's a shirt and it says Chang of clothes, which she did not bother to fix. Bring families and kids. Family spelled FAMILYS. Baseball glove for some reason. Bring tents? What the fuck? Are we staying overnight for a reunion with our families?
Dude, I know this isn't absolution season anymore, or maybe it is.
Yeah.
But it sounds like it's going to be intense.
Okay. Well, it is absolution season. But anyways, there's a reason why you should find a human being to create artwork for you.
Yes. I know one. He's a good friend of mine.
Yeah.
Yeah. He is from the Isle of Tonga. And
Naj?
No, Juan.
Oh.
Of the Ortiz.
I didn't know he was from Tonga.
Yes. He recently moved there with his family, and I'm proud of him for being who he is and sticking to his guns. He doesn't have guns, but
okay.
He is making a design for me, and it's a T-shirt I'm getting printed where it's me being speared by Gregberg.
Okay. I would actually like that, to be honest.
I know. Now I'm thinking about it.
It's real silly. But again...
We're in a backyard.
Gregberg can look nothing like Goldberg, because Gregberg, again, even though he was Gregberg in honor of Goldberg, he wore a vest like Stone Cold Steve Austin that said "Gim 24/7," and and of course was a 14-year-old boy with slicked back, gelled hair with waves and little sideburns and acne. So
I would never have a picture of a 14-year-old kid in my house or on my body, but I mean, to each his own. You got that Alyssa Milano still, right?
It's in my gym for a girl that I had a crush on as a child. It's okay because I'm younger than her, and it is a workout photo, which I might get turned into a piece of art, or perhaps maybe I'll get a logo for my brand new website that I just launched, which we'll talk about at the end of the podcast, and all this good stuff. But Juan Ortiz is the guy to go to. Juan Ortiz has been doing this for nearly 20 years, and he's made all the prominent merch for guys in WWE, AEW, New Japan, Ring of Honor. So, you know what? Do yourself a favor. Reach out to Juan Ortiz and Of the Dead Designs and save $20 on your first design by mentioning Iron on Wrestling. So, all you got to do is message him. Go to his Instagram at Of the Dead Designs, Facebook.com/Of the Dead Designs, or go to his website, ofthedead.weebly.com, because Of the Dead Designs is bringing artwork to life.
And you know, I was just going to tell you this. If you get one of our shirts, okay, here's a little behind the curtain sneak peek here. Greg's the one that will send you the shirts when you order them. So if you get a Gregberg shirt and you order let's just say you order a large. Let's just say you order an extra large.
Uh-huh.
Let's just say you order a double X. Okay, so you order this double X shirt. Greg's like, you know what? Double X's cost a little more. Let me just take the tag off of this one, send this guy a large, and now you have this large shirt that you want to wear because it's a cool fucking shirt.
That's not a me thing. That was a Sammy Callahan thing, to be fair.
Shut your ass up. Now you're like, man, I only have this large shirt, and I wear a double X, and what am I going to do? Oh, I know how to lose weight. I'll get in touch with Mike from TNT.
Is that what people say? I know how to lose weight.
Now I do. I've been listening to those guys talk about him and sing his praises. Well, yes, you can do that. Or what if you have a shirt that is too small for you and you want to make it look extra too small? So you want to get jacked, right? Now you go to Mike. He can get you jacked too.
I like using
He's got peptides.
Yeah. I use the protein.
You use the glutamine, don't you?
I use the glutamine for post-workout. I use the creatine. I'm back using that stuff because while I'm not lifting weights like I want to, I have a lot of resistance bands that I bought from Amazon, and I put them in my door, and that's the only way I can work out. So making sure that I'm recovering correctly with all the stuff from TNT Health. And if you get anything from TNT-health.com, not only is Mike going to be with you to help you with all of your nutrition questions, he's going to hold your hand and help you every step of the way. You can save 10% if you mention, or if you use our promo code IRONON, IRONON, 10% off anything you buy. So do yourself a favor, get started right now, free to look, TNT-health.com, 10% off anything you buy with promo code IRONON, because with TNT Health, it's about your health today, not tomorrow. And with that being said, we're going to go to the interview with Alice Crowley, sitting in my beautiful kitchen, breakfast nook area, with one Big Al, Alice Crowley. Hello.
What's up?
Second time we're doing this podcast.
Yes. Yes,
How do you feel about that? Do you feel like the conversation will be organic, natural? Like I won't lean towards saying the same things that I did before and vice versa?
Yeah, I think so. Because that was like, how long ago?
A week ago. 1 week.
Oh, you're talking about the one that we recorded last week.
Yes.
I thought you were talking about the one from years ago.
No. Well, that seemed fine, except for, the stuff with you and Billy with the WAP being young teenage girls that I had to edit out. And I was very insistent that, we don't talk about WAP so I can continue to speak to children in schools. And you girls were like, no, it's fine. No, we're only 16 and 17-year-old girls talking about wet ass pussy. So no big deal. And then I had to go tell your Billy's father, so that way rest assured that I could sleep easy without having a Chris Hansen situation. Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too.
You awake?
For the most part.
Yeah.
Just got off work. Tired.
Mm-hmm.
Want to take a little nap.
Long week?
It's only Tuesday, but yeah.
How you recovering from getting slapped in the face?
Pretty well, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Better than I thought I was, actually. I thought I'd be like having like headaches or like something, but actually I haven't had any.
Well, you weren't even bruised up that bad, shockingly.
No, nothing really. I just had like half a shiner.
Did anybody else that you knew, like Haley or anything, have any bruises or anything?
Dude, Haley, it was so weird. She didn't have anything on her face, and then like 3 days after, she had a massive bruise on her cheek and one like on her cheekbone. I was like, how did it just now pop up? Like,
yeah. It's weird how the body works with the blood shit, and because like that's why like when I tore my pec, everyone's asking me like, why is it not bruised at all? I mean, you saw it only started to bruise right before my surgery. Not even the pec; it was the arm itself. And the doctor and the physical therapist basically was like, well, when you do a complete tear like that, sometimes like the way a perfect rip like that, it doesn't bruise as easily as it would be like an almost complete tear. You know, like it's very strange. But all in all, you feel good right now. 2 weeks removed, PowerSlap, your first time doing something like that. I know there was some extensive training that went into that. We'll talk about that. But as far as wrestling right now, you're staying busy. You're doing a lot of the Juggalo stuff, yeah?
Yes, actually.
How do you feel about that?
I love it. I love traveling with them. It's actually a lot of fun.
How did that come about?
I think Danny Moe must have given them my name after I had wrestled for them one time when they were local. It was like Columbus, and then Kerry Morton reached out to me and got me booked for this Columbus show, and I did a series of 3 matches with Danny Moe, and I think after that she really enjoyed those matches and asked if I could come back. They ended up really liking me and gave me the belt not too long after that, so I feel bad. She like helped bring me in and I just stole her belt.
Well, you know, that happens sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Now, you've done quite a few shows now. Now, I've only done like 2 or 3 shows for the Juggalos, but 2 of those were gatherings. One was a gathering where it was still, to me, the real gathering.
Right.
When it was like in something Rock, Illinois or whatever.
Yeah.
I often say, even though it was not my thing at all, if you were to give me a time machine and go back to one point in your wrestling career, where would you go? And I would confusingly say, for some reason, the 2013 gathering of Juggalos, because it was like the strangest but also realest and weirdest environment I've ever been in. So that being said, thus far with the Juggalos, is there a moment that you've been a part of that is not only weird, but you found yourself saying, what the fuck am I doing here right now? Not in a bad way necessarily.
I don't think so. Just because, like, I feel like I'm a weird person.
Yeah.
And, like, I didn't expect to get along with everybody as well as I do, just because everybody comes from such unique backgrounds and, like, everybody literally looks completely different, has completely different gimmicks. Is like, you know, I didn't think I would get along with everybody as well as I do, but I actually do. And so yeah, I don't know. I guess I think the only weird moment for me is because, like, I'm not used to, like, being on stage like that, like, while they're performing. I've never done that before, and that's just like a crazy experience. Like,
what's it like when you're up there? Like, what are you doing? Because I went up there,
like, dancing and stuff, like, just in the background.
Like, I was throwing Fago and shit.
Like this bitch don't know how to dance. Like, I don't know how to dance. So, like,
yeah, that
was probably the most, probably awkward position I was in, because I'm not like a dancer, you know. But it was still fun though. It took me out of my comfort zone for sure.
Yeah.
But
because I'm just thinking back to mine, like again, the gathering is a little different than an average ICP show, I would think, because you're on private property and you're doing things that they're doing things that you probably couldn't do if you were in a actual facility. But what I remember from my experience is, like, people with their booth set up where they're selling shirts and jersey, but also like a sign that says Vicodin $1, and you know what I mean? And like every morning, me and M Dog would go to the drug bridge, even though we don't do drugs, every morning to see what was happening.
That was at the gathering.
Yeah, because like a guy literally had a trench coat and was like PCP, heroin, meth, like a guy in a movie. Like, it wasn't a real thing, but it was a real thing. Yeah, it was
a guy in a trench coat.
And then like I'm not going to name names, but there were like former big time wrestling superstars that were going around buying balloons for $1 off of guys they didn't know to huff them. And so it was just one of these environments where I'm like, and of course you have the carnival rides and everything. And it was just a very unique experience that I've never had in wrestling otherwise.
My dad, I did the 2019 gathering when I was still in high school, actually.
Your parents are saints.
Yeah. So my dad took me, right? Because I think our show was supposed to go on at like midnight or something.
Yeah, of course.
But Guar was on stage.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad loves Guar, okay?
Legendary band.
Yes. Would show me videos and stuff, and I would just be this little kid just watching these videos of these people spraying people with blood. Fake blood, of course.
Sure.
But, I mean, I don't know. But yeah, this show didn't go on till 3 a.m. because they didn't clear the stage
That's
till
how it
about
always
3
works.
a.m.
If it's midnight, you're for sure at the very
yeah.
earliest going on at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
So just
it
be
was
prepared.
rough.
Yeah.
But it was still fun. I just had to go to school the next day.
Oh, okay.
But
How far of a drive was that?
An hour.
That's
It
not
was
bad.
An hour back home.
Okay.
But my dad, when he was there, he said that some guy in a bunny rabbit costume came hopping up to him with a basket full of marshmallows and offered him a marshmallow. And my dad was like, what's in this? And the guy's like, oh, nothing. I'm just giving out marshmallows, trying to make people happy.
Okay.
And then my dad was like, okay, I'll take 2.
All right. Yeah. See, I would be like, nope, no.
And my dad said they were real marshmallows. They were just marshmallows, guys, just trying to make people happy.
Wow. That's the thing. I think Juggalos.
So it's like kind of, there's 2 sides to it.
Yeah. Well,
Very
again,
different people. It's such a mix.
I wouldn't say they're not trustworthy. I don't, in any scenario, in an atmosphere like that, I think I would decline a food item from a random person. But in general, I think, in my experience, not in the wild, but at actual ICP events, I've had nothing but good experiences with Juggalos. Like, they're very welcoming and
literally,
kind.
they call each other family. They literally treat each other like family. It's so sick. I love it.
Yeah.
It's like you turn a corner, you're out of weed, someone has weed,
Yeah.
and they're like, hey, you need some? And we're like, dude, came at the right time.
And then they open the jacket, and it's PCP.
Yeah,
heroin,
but then they give it to us for free because we're wrestlers, and
Yeah.
they're like, you guys are so sick. They help us out, So
You actually, on top of you doing all the Juggalo stuff, you just did Circle 6, which was a unique experience.
Oh,
This
yes.
past Sunday. Well, no ring, you and Sue Young.
yes,
How do you feel about that?
it was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
The show took a minute to get on.
it did. It very much did.
But
I think there were
that's
some
okay.
miscommunications with the
Yeah.
venue owner, and
Guy seemed a little.
so apparently,
don't know.
I was talking to Eddie Only, the guy that ends this B-side in Cleveland Heights. Apparently, is a very famous Cleveland person, but he struck me as just a raging alcoholic who didn't really
Yeah.
know where he was.
Yeah,
and,
I thought he was too. I thought he was drunk or something.
yeah, and Eddie swore on everything. He was like, "No, he's
He's
been
like
sober
20
for
years
30
recovered.
Yeah, I was like, "What? There's no way." I'm like,
20
"Okay."
years.
So many drugs did he do before he began recovery?
Right,
And he's
and
like,
how
"That
old
I
is
don't
this
know."
guy?
Yeah, because
Turned out he's like what, in his 70s or something?
I don't know. I mean, if he was in
running
his
this
70s, he
place?
looked.
That's what Eddie said. He was like in
Decent.
his 70s. No, he looked rough.
I mean, he looked decent for 70. He looked at least 66.
That's not far off.
Anyway, so you've been doing the ICP stuff, the Circle 6, but one of the things I want to talk about is obviously this PowerSlap thing, because I feel like people don't know a lot about it, and there was a lot of wrestlers that had different things to say about it on social media that weren't participating in it, but it actually, a lot of wrestlers were recruited for this, and my mindset going into it when I'm seeing it, I'm like, wow, yeah, smart business model, because here are these wrestlers that are getting paid, none of us are getting paid the amount we should get paid, right? But
Yeah.
hundreds of dollars for what we do, and then here comes Dana White and PowerSlap, and not only do they want to get these wrestlers who they know if they offer a bunch of money to, that they will probably do it, but you already have people that, 90% of the wrestlers you're going to find are going to have some element of charisma or character or
Right.
backstory to where it's easily marketable, as opposed to if you've ever watched PowerSlap when it first started a couple years ago, where it's just
It's rough.
It seems like they just got a bunch of fucking hilljacks off
Yeah,
the street, and
it's
we're like,
rough.
"Hey, want to slap
and
each
like
other in
there's
the face?"
no talking. They like hardly react.
Yeah.
I mean, they just like fall down, and then like some of them will get up. Some people just get knocked out. Some people's hits are just whatever, and they don't react. But when it's a hit they can take, they don't react.
Mhm.
That's the problem.
Sure.
So it's good in the moment after they hit you to not react, but then afterwards, it's go time. You gotta do something, talk your shit, do something on your way back, because that's the only time you get in between to be able to like show any sort of character is from the time that you get hit to the time that you walk back to go chalk up your hands to hit again. That's about how much time you have to talk your shit.
Now hold on. Was this something was this discussed with you with people, or
I
like
discovered
this is just your mindset of like?
Yes, this is how I have like watching how these episodes go down and watching where they put the cameras at on these episodes. They record the person who's getting hit. I went somewhere.
It's okay.
They record the person as they're getting hit to when they go back.
Yep.
So during that time, that's it. I don't know. Take your time walking back.
Sure.
The camera will be on you longer.
But
But
people aren't thinking about that. But obviously,
but
wrestlers,
as a worker, you have to think about that. That's camera time for me. You know what I mean? So it's like I have to think about when they're going to have the camera on me, because of course they're not going to care about the person who hit you, their reaction, until after you get knocked down. If you don't get knocked down, they want to see your reaction. They want to see if you get knocked down, how you react to this hit, you know? After the fact, if you were to get knocked down, that's when it goes back to the other person and they start recording them. That's your time to, get up, you fucking knock the person down,
Yeah. Well, it's important. It makes me think of like, the wrestling mindset of like, I think, Scott Hall that once told someone, because back in the day when they were just doing, which now that I'm going to say it, remind me of something I want to talk about, when they would do job matches in WWF. So like when, Razor Ramon, who was a star, was working a match against a jobber, he learned talking to Kurt Hennig, basically like, you take your time after you're beating someone's ass, because some of the stars would go out there and just run through these fucking jobbers.
Right.
But if you take your time, and after you hit a move and you take your time before the next thing, that gives the opportunity for the announcer to talk about how great you are.
Right.
And how fucking cool you are and get your character over.
Right.
And then you can go to the next thing. And then the jobber can go back to selling.
But if you're burying them with moves and burying them with, stuff in the ring that you're just doing for no reason, they're going to be calling that.
Yeah.
They're calling what you're doing as you're doing it. But if you stop and there's nothing going on, what are they going to talk about?
Right.
The person who's standing.
Mm-hmm. So you got into this through Sin Bodhi.
Yes, I did.
Who you met, unfortunately, because of me. So
yes.
I'm partial responsibility for this because I got you booked in Hamilton for Top Tier.
Yes, for Top Tier.
Okay, so and the meeting was because you happened to be at Top Tier, but Sin had already knew who you were.
Yes, so Sin knew who I was, but I actually got to give Danny Mo props again. She has my back. She's a really good person, really good friend. But I was sitting on a bus, on the tour bus, on one of the JCW tours, and she was talking to me, and we were just talking about recent things, that stuff we got coming up, and she said that she was doing PowerSlap, and I was like, "You're doing PowerSlap?" And she was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Dude, no fucking way. That's so sick. I want to do it." And then she was like, "Are you serious?" I was like, "Yeah, I would love to do it." And then she told me how she got involved in it and everything. And I was like, "Dude, that's so sick." And then I told her about how a while ago I was trying to get Circle 6 to book me to do a PowerSlap match at one of their barroom shows over like a fucking barrel or something, like
Yeah.
I don't care. Just
Sure.
like, just for the fun of it, because I feel like the crowd would really get into something like that. A
Mhm.
wrestling crowd would for sure.
Yeah.
But so anyway, that was something I was trying to do years ago.
Which, by the way, I mean, the reason why the PowerSlap thing didn't happen at like a Circle 6 show is because anybody it was pitched to,
They just didn't want to do it.
they didn't want to do
Yeah.
it. Okay. I think that's fair to point
Yeah,
out.
most
So,
people didn't want to do it.
right.
But yeah, so Danny, I told her that story, and the whole time I'm telling her the story, she had already messaged Sin Bodhi about me, and sent him all my stuff, and then he hit me up and asked me if it was something I would want to do, and I was like, fuck yeah. So that's literally within like a couple hours, they sent me stuff for like flight info, and yeah, it was by that day I was going to PowerSlap.
And this was to do the combine.
Combine.
I was going to say
Yes.
Columbine. Jesus Christ. That's a different thing. That is a school shooting, which we are not going to talk about. The combine.
Yeah.
So people know what that looks like for, I guess, different types of athletic endeavors like football. But what does it look like for PowerSlap?
Basically, we just went and slapped each other in the face. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. No, we did not. We were slapping pads and these things called bobs, and it's basically just like a human bust, like the size of a normal person. And you can adjust it high, lower, whatever.
And this was in Las Vegas.
Yes.
At the, what was the center you were at?
The UFC Apex.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I thought. All right.
That's where the combine was at.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. It said UFC everywhere. We walked in and they immediately handed us a check. It was really nice. Yeah, slapped those bobs, slapped the pads, and that was, I mean, we slapped these pads. They tested the strength of like your slap. Then we did like neck, seeing how the strength in our neck, how, I don't know what that would be called. I don't know how it's measured or anything.
Yeah.
We just basically laid on the ground and pressed our head up on this metal plate thing as
But
hard
you,
as
but
we
you
could.
all had specific trainers for this.
Yeah. So they, for the combine, we switched around throughout the trainers. There was 3 trainers and we were all utilizing all of them. So they were all technically our trainers at the combine. But then whenever they asked me to do the actual PowerSlap event, Brandon was my coach. He's really cool.
Yeah.
He's unfortunately injured and cannot make the one in July. Just found that out yesterday, so
That sucks.
hopefully he gets better.
So how quick from the combine do you find out for sure they're going to
Literally,
use you?
it doesn't. It changes for everyone. There was a girl that didn't know she was doing it till Wednesday, and weigh-in was on Thursday. So she dropped 10 pounds in one day and still missed weight by a couple pounds.
That's wild.
And then still did the match, and then got her nose broken on Friday.
Yeah, that was
in
the
the
one
match.
That was the
Yeah.
one that got smacked
That
right
poor
in the
girl.
face and started bleeding
Poor
everywhere.
girl.
Yeah, that's rough.
She's a beast though. She took that shit.
But they told you with enough time that you could like train on your own.
Yes. So I had, I think, little under 2 months, because the combine was, I think, in June, and then, no, not June, May, and then my fight was in June.
Okay. Wow. Okay. So you're training basically just slapping. You had like what kind of weights for your neck? Am I right about that? What exactly did you have on your?
So it's like this big thing that you strap on your head, and
Yeah.
it's a chain that hangs from ear to ear, and then I put weights on it,
Okay.
and yeah,
It's kind of crazy.
yeah, it looks weird.
And obviously, in general, like not for this specifically, like you did cut weight for this,
Yes.
but most people wouldn't realize that what it was only just a year ago, you weighed like 185.
Yeah.
And you've dropped a lot of weight since then by doing some personal training with Vincent Nothing.
Mhm. There was at one point, I weighed 187 pounds,
Yeah.
and now I'm down to 145.
That's crazy. Because
My
again,
weigh-in
I
day,
would
was 144.
I would have never guessed you weighed that much.
144.0.
Yeah. Holy shit.
440. Isn't that weird?
Oh, wow. Yeah. Crazy how life works, right?
Yeah.
What was the mindset behind dropping the weight? Like,
Starve. No, I'm just kidding. No, but that's how it was the week of. I wasn't fasting, but I was fasting throughout the day, and then I would eat a meal like 4 hours before I would go to bed.
yeah.
Just so I would have something in my system, because I would try to make it throughout the days and not eat, but every single day I folded.
It's interesting
But-
because, like, sorry to interrupt you.
I was still fine though.
Yeah.
Like I was fine on weight.
I would never want to do something where I had to be a certain weight.
Oh, I hated it.
because like
hated
that's
it.
why I never anytime anybody asks me like, oh, did you amateur wrestling in high school? I'm like, no, but like not necessarily that I was gonna be even interested in it.
It's just they have to make you. They force you to make weight.
Yeah,
and
I
it's
don't.
like,
I don't. I like
as a
eating.
kid, like, why do I need to be at a certain weight?
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like, I shouldn't have to.
Yeah.
14, 15.
I
Why do I
hated
have
that.
to
There was no. I was eating like 10 hot dogs for lunch. There's
Right.
no way I'm gonna
and like
fucking
some
drop
kids
weight.
are like running around the gym wearing trash bags. I'm like,
Yeah.
what are you doing?
That's psychotic to me. But some people might say, I guess a good segue, that doing the power slap is kind of psychotic, right? So like,
I mean,
so
yes, everybody says that, and I understand why, because you are literally signing up to get slapped in the face,
yes.
like defenseless. Like you're literally putting your hands behind your back and holding a foam pad.
But like beyond that, like to get more technical, it's like, yeah, because some people are like, oh yeah, sure, I'll take a fucking
But
smack
like
in the face.
CTE or
Yeah,
whatever.
We're talking about concussions. Like for sure, you're probably going to get concussed. CTE obviously is a thing. So it's like I think that's the kind of the backlash on that. It's like for me
that's what
personally, it's
everybody
like
complains about.
like you can't. There's not an amount of money I think you could pay me because I already know that I have brain damage.
Right.
So I would not want to sign up for that willingly.
Right.
But like you talking to me personally, not only did it already interest you, but you threw something at me about the difference between
Yeah, I
getting
can
taken care of
explain
with
it.
this
yeah. I
as
can
opposed to
explain it again.
wrestling. Because you know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
the wrestlers that are saying it are like, well, sure, you could get concussed, but it's predetermined. And so like,
Right.
shit happens or whatever, but you have a different mindset.
It's just because wrestling, you get paid a lot less, and who's to tell if they pay for your gas? Who's to tell if they pay for your hotel? It's up to you to get there. It's up to you to take care of all of your stuff, your transportation, your food, everything. And you get to the show, you have to, go up to the promoter and figure out what you're doing and all this stuff. With them, the way they do it, they send you an itinerary before. So before I even get there, I knew what I was doing on my fight day in detail. They told me how I was getting there, all the people that I needed to contact to get my rides. I didn't pay for a single ride. I didn't pay for a single meal. I didn't pay for literally anything when I was there. And they paid for me to do my fight. So it's like, with that, it's very, very different. I have to get hit 3 times in the face, yes, but wrestling isn't paying all of my bills,
I think it's also fair that
but this will, and they take care of me.
it's a crapshoot whether or not we're even going to get medical treatment at a wrestling
Right,
show.
and here, everything is paid for. They pay for all of your medical treatment. They scan your brain before you do it to make sure that you can take it and or you don't already have brain damage. Because if you have brain damage, they're not going to let you do it. And
Yeah.
they're going to be able to determine when that happens, if it happened, and all of the stuff in between, So it's like they're helping protect their people. They're not just throwing us out there.
Yeah.
They're protecting us. They're checking us and making sure that we're okay. Through all of the medical testing we had, I literally had 7 appointments. 7 appointments.
That's wild. But, and so
And they paid for all of them.
Yeah,
They paid for all of them.
that's also
I didn't have to give them my insurance. I walked in and I told them this is for my job, and they sent them the bill. That's it.
So working backwards from the medical thing, like with wrestling, whether people know or not that listen to the show, it's like, some places.
Side note,
Go ahead.
they made my appointments too. I didn't have to schedule any of my appointments.
That's
They made my
such a
appointments
relief.
in my hometown area and told me the location, the time I needed to be there, and I was set.
That's all I want.
Yeah.
Just
so
tell
it's
me to
like
show up and I'll
Yep.
be there.
they sent me literally everything. Show up here at this time,
Like,
and then here's money when you get there.
some-
It's great. It's great.
yeah, like some places with the commission with wrestling, it's like some people are obligated to have medical there. Sometimes, like let's just say death matches, for example, not always guaranteed to have someone to do stuff. No, I'm not gonna nothing bad to Ruthless Pro Wrestling. I love it there. I've had fun there. But going into that show that we did for the 440 War Games finale match that we did, where it was you and Vince and Christian versus me and Otis and Zach, going into that, we were told that there was going to be someone medically on staff. And then afterwards, to peel the curtain back a little bit, and I'm pouring out blood, nothing was dangerous or anything, but I wanted to clean up the blood. I didn't even know
Right.
where to begin. If it wasn't for
Yeah.
you and
I remember
Kat,
that.
the ref, I would still be bleeding in the bathroom in Chicago right now.
Yeah,
Because
it was rough. It
yeah.
was everywhere. It was literally looked like a murder scene.
Yeah. So,
it was crazy.
so-
I don't know how you were bleeding that much.
I'm-
Actually,
girl, I'm just a good bleeder.
I'm just a good
All
bleeder.
right. I don't want to brag. But
good color.
so that's kind of like from a medical perspective, you never know what you're going to get at a wrestling show. And then, you talk about, okay, I don't think I really have to think. I don't know if I've ever got an itinerary for wrestling ever. Maybe it's actually funny. Maybe from the Juggalos, from like one of the gatherings, like a slight itinerary. But I can't.
Actually, they do send me PDF files.
Yeah.
With the schedule.
I mean, I might be forgetting something, but I've never had itinerary. I can't tell you how many times I got to fucking argue with someone to make sure I get my full trans or.
It's always a problem.
I get my
somewhere.
flight paid for, but then they didn't pay for the bags. And then they, I've had a guy go, well, we didn't talk about that. Or I'm getting flown somewhere for 2 days and I'm like, well, where am I staying? Well, we didn't talk about that.
Right.
Motherfucker. Like, you're flying me in for your show.
Right.
Pay for my shit.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
When I get there, who's picking me up?
Right. It's just, it's a hassle.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't be that way. I've never been to the UK for wrestling, but from what I understand, I've never had anyone complain about getting to shows, getting paid for shows there. Like, it's just, oh, I'm paying. Yeah, of course I'm paying your trans. You know what I mean? Like, but with wrestlers here in the States and promoters, it's like, oh, we didn't talk about that.
Right.
Go fuck yourself. I'm not working for you then.
Right.
How about that? Like, and I know that some people, especially when you're just starting out, you're not in a position to do that. And we can have a whole discussion about, how much someone should get paid to wrestle. When you're younger, it sucks that you have to eat shit for a little bit. But if you're able to build a name for yourself up quickly, then I think if you show that you have something that can help monetize whatever's happening at the promotion, then maybe you should get paid more money. But, I'm personally at the point where if these things aren't covered, I will not be there.
Right.
Plain and simple.
Yeah, it gets to a point where it's like you've done so much, which somebody like you has.
Yeah.
And shouldn't have to, deal with that kind of stuff.
But even so, because, and again, this is like a abusive relationship, then we'll get back to the PowerSlap stuff. But it's like, there are still situations where, even though I know that I've had some level of success, I will still, in situations like, especially if like the promoter's cool or something, if he'll save him a few bucks, hey, I'll stay at your place.
Right.
Or
yeah, like I'm down for that. Like if somebody is trying to save a little bit of money or something, like helping on some of that stuff. But
there's been times where the drive was a questionable distance to where it was like, I would kind of prefer a hotel.
Right.
But just because it saved the promoter money, I just drove back
I
home.
did it too.
And if I had
all
to,
the time.
I pull over, I sleep in my car for a couple hours. And sometimes a couple hours, there have been instances where I was like, well, fuck, I went to sleep for 6 hours in my car. I probably should drive home now. You know what I mean? It's daylight.
Yeah, but like, you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah.
And that's, but that's the sucky side of wrestling,
Yeah, for sure. But so
it's just what it comes with, I guess.
Yeah, but PowerSlap took care of all your stuff, and
yeah,
then,
it was really nice.
So then, when it comes time for the week, you were out there for a week before the actual event.
Fight.
So you had some fun, you did some relaxing, you did some training. How much did you communicate with your opponent, and then like what was like that whole atmosphere like?
I didn't see her the first day.
Yeah.
And then the second day, when we were going to get on the bus to get taken to the Apex again, I think. Somewhere. They were taking us somewhere. She walked in the door, which it wasn't her team, so they do it by teams. They have red team, blue team. They would take all the red team at one point. So my whole red team was in this room. And then she walked in and I'm like, what the heck? And it's 2 girls from the blue team. They were just coming in to weigh themselves because there was like a weight scale in there. And I seen her and I waved to her and her face like lit up, and then I stood up and walked up to her and put my hand out and we shook hands, and then she hugged me. It was so nice. I was very surprised actually at how nice she was. I thought she would be mean just based off the way she looks, but that's the persona sometimes.
Looks can be deceiving, they say.
Right. But she was actually a really sweet person. But when it's time to fight, she was not. But then right after, she was again. Like, we hugged on stage and then, hugged in the back. Literally hugged twice after the match within 5 minutes.
It's very pro wrestling.
Yeah,
Same
literally.
thing.
That's exactly what I thought. I was like, wow, this is like very...
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Did I slack you too hard? Or
Yeah, I was like, are you okay? Literally, we're like asking each other if we're okay.
Yeah.
It's like, because you care. You still care about the other person. Yeah, you're slapping them, but like, you're both doing it for one reason, and you both know it's for money.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, why would I hate her for wanting the same thing I do?
Right.
I can't hate her for that.
Sure.
We're on the same page.
And,
We're on the same team, technically, if we're, wanting the same thing. But opposite teams.
Yeah.
In this case,
And of course, even though it's just, on paper, it's just slapping in the face, there are a few rules, and you stood your ground. They didn't post the video yet. They posted a little bit on Instagram. They're going to post it
They're
eventually?
gonna post the full thing on YouTube at some point.
But what
they
it comes
do them,
down to
once a
is
week.
you ended up clubbing her.
Yes, the first one I clubbed her on. If I didn't do that, I feel like I would have had a better chance. But all of her strikes, she rocked me on. She rocked me. So I feel like no matter what, she would have won.
And you've talked to me personally. You said that you feel like you won the coin toss and you got to slap first, which I was like, oh, good.
I wish I got a slap second, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it would have had me like more fired up, because like I just got hit and now like I got to try to match that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or try to one up it, not match it, but one up it.
Right.
But
you survived it. And now,
just had to get that one little silly slap out the way.
Sure. So long term, like, what's the game plan? If they ask you to do it again?
If they were to ask for me back, I definitely would say yes, for sure. And I'm gonna keep training. I'm not gonna stop training for PowerSlap. Like, I'm gonna make sure no matter when they call me, I'm ready. Because if they call me for, which I think I have a month deferral or whatever they would call it.
Oh, for protocol.
Yes.
Because again, medical staff checked you right after.
Right.
Okay.
So they at first said a week, but then I told them I couldn't remember putting my contacts in when they were in my eyes.
Yeah, it's probably not good. Probably not good.
So, but
don't like to hear that.
I think that's just because my vision was blurry because I got hit in the face, and it took me a minute to get my vision back with my contacts in.
Yeah.
Because it was like, not that it wasn't like, it just things were like fuzzy.
Sure.
Like for a while.
But so long term, so you would do it again.
When I say a while, I mean a couple hours. It was just like a few hours. And I didn't have any headaches the rest of that day or the next day or at all.
I mean, that's good.
Which is scary, actually.
Scary how hard your head is?
No. Why don't I have headaches? Like,
Sure.
I feel like I should.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, don't jinx yourself.
I know. But like, I feel like I should.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But long term, the end goal is still wrestling.
Yeah. I think I would do it. I would do this PowerSlap thing for sure, but I don't know how many more times.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it's something I would have to do like once a year or twice a year.
Right.
So I can like minimize that and keep an eye on my brain and
you don't want to get typecasted as the PowerSlap wrestler.
Right.
Sure.
Correct. Because I feel like Stunt Marshall owns that now. Shout out Stunt.
That's the kid who
knocking him out. I feel so bad.
That dude
feel so bad.
Took that slap to the face, and then he took two falls to the floor. one bump on the counter, and then
one on the ground.
Oh boy,
I feel so bad.
That was rough.
But Stunt was the underdog in that. All of us thought Dante had it, but it's crazy. It's crazy. You would think that because we get hit all the time that you'd be able to take a hit like that, but some people just aren't cut out for that kind of stuff.
Not in the jaw.
Yeah.
No.
Not in the jaw.
No, sir. So, well, it's been a nice little conversation. Anything else you want to get in here? What do you got? You wanna go take a nap?
Yeah, probably.
What do you want to plug if someone wants to find you on social media?
On Facebook, it's Alice Crowley. On Instagram, it's Alice_Crowley_. And on X, it's Alice Crowley 19.
And special thanks to Danny Moe for helping your career so much.
Love you, Danny.
And I guess to end the show, just one question. Will you be participating? I think a lot of the listeners want to know, will you be participating in the MMA lingerie fighting, or is that not something that...
So sorry, but won't be participating in that.
What's the number to participate in it? Because I feel like I just watched this video. I should have sent it to you. It was this guy.
wouldn't.
It was this guy on the street walking up to this girl and was like, "What would it take for you to sell your underwear?"
Oh,
And she was
yeah.
like, "I wouldn't do it." And then he's like, "How about $1,000?" She's like, "I mean, yeah." And then he's like, "How about 500?" And then he's like, "How about 250?" And then it got down to 25. She's like, "Yeah, I mean, I'd probably do it for 25."
It's like she said she wouldn't. Now she's saying she would for 25.
$25. Like, what the fuck? So yeah, no lingerie MMA fighting.
Unless I could like customize my outfit like Danny did and make it like very similar to my gear, which is pants, which can't happen. So
Yeah,
probably not.
I don't know if anybody has invented lingerie pants yet.
No, I don't think so.
But all right, well,
They're
good to
shit out
know.
of luck.
Sorry, MMA live TV, whatever your Instagram's
MMA
called.
live TV.
I don't know what it's called. But all right, thank you for doing this with me. Appreciate
Yes, you're welcome, Mr. Greg.
it, Mr. Greg. That was the interview with Alice Crowley. Very interesting conversation, and definitely had some. She definitely talked about some things with PowerSlap that I didn't consider, and I know you were paying close attention. But the one thing that really struck me that I just wanted to touch on it with you real quick is like, you know, I'm all concerned about like, well, it's they're kind of conning these wrestlers into doing this because they know they can get them for cheap because they're doing the indies. But then also her argument of I don't have to worry about anything when I'm booked for them. Like, I have a per diem. Someone's picking me up from the airport, like with a sign. My flight is taken care of with no problems. I don't have to ask for them to pay for my bags.
And she probably gets paid.
I get paid my per diem the second I get there. I get paid my check the second I get done fighting. And like, it made me go, it got me angry that it's such a struggle with wrestling. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, it's very, like someone getting slapped in the face. It's an easier gig as far as getting taken care of than pro wrestling, which I feel like, while I'm not getting slapped in the face for sure, I definitely am getting hit for real on occasion. And I'm sacrificing a lot of time and effort. And it's like, sometimes, based on what I get paid, and I get paid more than most, sometimes I might be better off just going to a job for, I don't know, a couple days. You know what I'm saying? Because like sometimes it's if I'm like the most extreme I go as far as drive time sometimes is 8 hours. I usually don't go more than that, and I need a flight. But if I'm going 16 hours round trip and then I'm at a show for like, 2 to 6 hours, that's what, 3 days of work, and I don't think I'm getting paid 3 days worth of work based on the effort that I'm putting in. But that's just, I don't know. It's an interesting perspective. What say you?
I think so too. I mean, I listened to that interview so much, and I took every word she said to heart.
No.
It's sad sometimes when, well, actually, that was last week's episode that we don't have. This week's episode.
I just try to get you in on this conversation here. You're just going to be a dick to me. So let's real quick. We're going to talk SummerSlam predictions for Patreon, like what we think the card is going to look like. We're also going to preview Saturday night's main event. We will probably review Raw because it'll be over by the time that we get done with the show. I guess, sure, we'll talk about All In too. I don't know if I'm going to be watching unless I can get it for free, but
what's that? Is that AEW or TNA?
AEW. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Great American Bash is happening. I don't know.
What's that? WWE or ECW?
We're going to be talking about a lot of stuff in a bonus episode over on patreon.com/Iron on Wrestling. But right here, right now, in front of all you people, we're going to talk about the Evolution card. Right now, they're having a little bit of a hard time selling tickets. They're in the same building, in the State Farm Arena in Georgia, the night after Saturday night's main event. It was mentioned earlier. Saturday night's main event, which is the 40th installment of Saturday night's main event, features the main event of Goldberg versus Gunther in Goldberg's final match. Evolution, which we've been waiting for the sequel to this since, when was the original? Like 2018, I believe? 2019? Had to be 2019 with Ronda, right?
Yep.
We're finally getting it, and it's only sold like 4,000 tickets. And I don't know if they're going to do much better. Now, one could make an argument that perhaps maybe they're putting these PLEs too close together. Perhaps maybe the fact that they try to overload the weekend to try to lessen the impact of AEW. Perhaps maybe they got in a little bit over their head. Not that they're going to financially struggle by the situation, but it does seem like in some form or fashion there perhaps maybe is some fatigue and people aren't as excited about Evolution. But also, if we're being honest, I don't know if the hype has been there. How do you feel about the build up to this sequel to Evolution?
Honestly, I said earlier, I got no questions about Evolution. I don't know how many people know what's happening or care that it's happening. I would like to like it. You know, you brought up a point last week where the best matches on the WrestleMania card were arguably the women's matches.
I still think that.
Yeah, right? And
Yeah.
so, like, we should really be into this.
Yeah.
And we're not. And that just goes to show also that story takes precedent.
Sure.
Okay, so there's really no stories here. We started a story with Liv and Nikki Bella that seemed like that was going to be something, but Liv got injured.
Yes.
So now we're going to have to pivot. I'm not sure where we're going. Do you know yet? Has it been announced what Nikki's doing?
Nothing has been announced for that.
Okay.
I'm going to guess that there is there's two options for her, and we'll talk about that in a second. But I think the bottom line is, here's the thing, and this is something that I feel like Triple H has been really good at. He's very good at setting up these promos and situations where, like, for example, a few months back, do you remember when they did the CM Punk Cody Rhodes in-ring promo to make you think like that's not where they're going, but if they wanted to, they can make you think that there is potential for it to go this way, and long term you can go back to this promo. Like, he has a habit of setting up these situations where it's not a choose your own adventure, but it makes you think that this is where it's going and this is what I want to see, and then something else happens where it's like, you know what, I wouldn't mind seeing this actually. And it's so he's setting up stuff in the future, and I think he's been very good at when there's been PLEs close together. Like, for example, we just did Night of Champions, but we were also building to Saturday Night's Main Event. I think in some ways he's very good at like seeing that we can't just do all the building right now for Night of Champions, knowing that we have Saturday Night's Main Event. So obviously we're laying the groundwork for Goldberg and Gunther, and one can argue that the Goldberg return came out of nowhere, and they really haven't done much other than a couple promos since then. But be that as it may, I just don't feel like we knew Evolution was coming. I don't feel like we did the same things to plant the seeds for, oh, wow, that would be something that I'd like to see at Evolution in 2 months. It's all kind of coming out of nowhere.
Do you know if there's a separate booking team?
I do not know.
Yeah.
I don't. Well, I mean, we're going to find out at the end of the month what the booking teams might look like when it comes to that Netflix show.
Oh, but that's a show.
It's a show.
You think it's going to be real? Is you real?
I think it's going to be as real as they let us believe it is.
Yeah.
You know?
So I don't know what I believe on that, but
But I think if they're talking about like if there's one or two booking teams, like if there's a Raw and SmackDown booking team like there used to be, which I would imagine there has to be to some aspect. You know what I mean? Like if you're booking for separate shows, there might be a little bit of a crossover, but regardless, let's talk about this actual Evolution show and maybe things that we could have done to make this seem more important. Here's what we have for the card so far. Singles match for the NXT Women's Championship. JC Jane with Fallon Henley and Jasmine Nix versus Jordynne Grace. Jordynne Grace has been staying pretty active on NXT. Of course, JC Jane, she seems like that she's been almost a transitional champion for this Jordynne Grace victory. I haven't admittedly been watching NXT, so I don't know what the build has looked like, but it did seem like when What's-Her-Face lost the belt to JC Jane, it just seemed like, oh, okay, because she's getting called up to the main roster, so now it's inevitable for her to lose the belt.
right.
So
if Jordynne Grace loses, do you think she's being called up? Or do you think it's more like, let's solidify JC Jane as an actual champion? Or do you think the whole transition champion is a thing and Jordynne Grace will walk out as the champ?
I think I would go Jordynne Grace, because also I feel like HBK wants to keep her around for a while, and I just feel like they're doing her a disservice if they don't take the opportunity to establish her as like the dominant woman on NXT. I think they like that. I think Triple H likes that long term. You know what I mean? Vince never really did it as much, but Triple H likes those callbacks of this person did this in NXT and did this in NXT. You know what I mean? Like it adds a layer of credibility if you follow that stuff. So, I mean, it's nice to have Jordynne Grace on the PLE. We'll see how that turns out. Io Sky versus Rhea Ripley. Women's World Championship match. I don't have a problem with this match, but it just got announced last week, and there's no heat, and they're both baby faces, and it was basically set up with Io going, I want to wrestle the best, and you're the best, and so let's have a match. And Rhea was like, okay.
Yeah, that sounds like a Raw thing.
Yeah.
You know,
it should've been
like
that's like later tonight. We'll
yeah,
have a match.
or next week at Madison Square Garden for Raw's something.
Yeah.
You know, I'm gonna love the match. I'm sure because these girls work their asses off. They're both strong characters, although they haven't been booked that way recently. I could argue. One could argue.
Why would you say they haven't been booked strongly?
Rhea
just had that street fight.
Yeah, it's just kind of. It almost felt like she was only in that street fight to get through Raquel to get to either Liv or Roxanne.
Well, and I think we talked about it when we reviewed Night of Champions. They did a video package that was really good for that street fight, to where they established the friendship for Rhea and Rodriguez, which
I hadn't even remembered until that package. So that was great that they did that.
Yeah, they didn't, but they didn't do any of that.
They would have done it earlier.
They didn't do any of that on the programming.
Yeah.
It just came out of nowhere in a video package.
Right.
So I have no doubt that this match will be good, but this is kind of like the AEW problem of like, yeah, sure, there'll be good matches, but like, who cares if there's no story? You know, we watch these things for stories. I mean, okay, the Fast and Furious movies are successful. There's really not much to the stories, but how many other movies can just say like, you know, oh yeah, I just go to see the explosions in the car wreck and there's no like emotional investment, like, right? Like it's just kind of weird.
That Vin Diesel, he's a hot piece of ass.
Moving on, Fatal 4-Way tag team match for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship. Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez versus Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair versus two teams.
Oh, yeah, that's right. They, I think they have to win a match on SmackDown and a match on NXT in order to get into this, right?
Yeah. So who do you think is potential? Because I feel like somehow, well, if they got to win a match, I was going to say maybe Nikki Bella could fit in here somehow, but like who would she even team with unless it was Brie?
And then I keep wondering, is that even possible? Because her husband worked for the other company.
I mean, I don't think it's impossible, but but I don't think that it was a plan for Brie to be involved. So it would just kind of be like, hey, Brie, I need you. I don't know if that would be in the cards. I don't know who the other two tag teams would be, to be honest. Maybe I'm glossing over.
I have no idea who are tag teams. NXT, I like the Meta or whatever, Meta 4, but I don't think they're a team anymore. I think one of them doesn't even work there.
Yeah, they're not a team anymore.
Okay,
and I feel like one of these matches, they just beat Alexa and Charlotte just beat the Secret Hervis, which would make sense to me for them to be in this match because I mean I want to point out. Chelsea isn't even on this card, which is a damn shame.
How is she hurt? Because I haven't seen her wrestle in a while.
She had a broken nose, but I think she's fine now.
Then why not use her? And if you're not going to use her, here's my ultimate dream. She goes to complain to management, and she ends up becoming management.
That's not a bad idea.
Yeah, but that's not about this match. But that's something that's been in my head for a minute.
Yeah.
Is that I would love for Chelsea Green to be... she could replace Ava or whatever in NXT.
Yeah.
That's $1 million right there.
Well,
I'm watching every week.
I don't think Ava's going to be replaced.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Well, let's get her to be the commissioner of AAA. I don't know.
I think her standing in the company is going to remain rock solid. Battle Royal for the Women's World Championship match. What? Are you okay?
Yeah, I just got it.
Okay. Battle Royal for a Women's World Championship match at Clash in Paris. The participants are to be determined in a battle royal.
What the fuck is Clash in Paris?
Well, instead of Clash at the Castle, it's going to be Clash in Paris because they're in Paris. Apparently, they didn't have.
There's another pay-per-view?
Clash in Paris is going to be August 31st, so after SummerSlam. So SummerSlam is going to be the first weekend, and then that's going to be at the end of August. So, I mean, Nikki Bella's probably in there, but I don't think she's winning. So who's winning the freaking Battle Royal? Who makes sense? I know they got a lot
of... To face who? The women's champion?
The Women's World Championship. So it's going to be...
Who's the world champion then?
Right now it's Io Sky.
Oh, yeah. Then give me Asuka.
Now you think they're going to pull the trigger on Asuka?
Yeah, I think they're going to see that, you know, there was some buzz about Asuka and Io facing each other. I think they know that. I think they knew that to set it up. You said yourself, Triple H is really good at setting up things where you can look back and go, oh, yeah, well, now I see where that came from.
Is there anybody French?
They just did a... No. Me.
There's no French people that...
Oh, French. I thought you said French.
French girls.
Oh, man. I
don't think
Alba
so.
Fire?
She's not French. Okay. Never mind. I have no idea who could win this Battle Royal. But, like, again, it's a reason to get the girls on, but I didn't even know this was a thing unless I missed it. Jade Cargill versus Naomi, a no holds barred match. Like, we're finally gonna get that. I mean,
Yeah, I'm all right with it.
yeah.
Let's do it.
I mean, they've been on that for a while.
Yeah, you got to finish that off so that way Jade can go into, what show is it? SummerSlam, where she gets a title shot against Tiffany Stratton?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
She goes in strong with a big win. Naomi still has the briefcase. Bianca returns and has starts the feud with Naomi. They can wrestle each other. But it's not a loss to Naomi would be inconsequential again because she has money in the bank and she can cash in at some point.
Tiffany Stratton versus Trish Stratus is a match that's happening for the women's championship. Again, I don't doubt this
Trish.
match will be good. What?
No.
But again, Trish just randomly came out on SmackDown this past week. So with the week of build, we're now doing like what should be in a lot of ways a modern dream match. You know, like
Also, Stratton was completely babyface, and you were my hero growing up, and this would be an honor if I could give you a title shot.
So again, the other women's championship match, no heat, babyface versus babyface.
And because I want to face the best in the world, so I want to give you this match.
Yeah.
Everybody's just giving out title matches. Now, the problem I had with Stratton was she said that, and then by the end of the 3-minute back and forth promo, she then said, "Whoa, this isn't the new generation."
Attitude Era.
Oh, yeah, this isn't the Attitude Era.
Yeah.
You know, and she like went and turned heel, kind of.
Tiffany does that sometimes, though.
Yeah. I think she's naturally a heel.
For sure.
And it's not her fault people love her, but she's great. This I just questioned a little bit. It was almost like Hobo Joe saying, "I have more money than everybody."
Well, again, I think the problem is, like, especially with some of these legends, you know, they're commanding a certain figure now. And they're usually not getting physical unless it's a match. So it's like you want to bring them in to build the story, but how are you going to do it unless it's via satellite? You know, I don't know,
and
man.
Trish was just a heel too, I thought.
She was.
I think she maybe turned babyface.
She teamed with Tiffany, so that's the only connective tissue. Is they had that match together.
Because I would have rather seen Trish as the heel to help get this babyface over this Tiffany.
Yeah,
I don't know. Whatever. They both got the same initials. It's not, none of it's okay with me, in my opinion.
Yeah. As a reminder, they teamed back at Elimination Chamber because it was in Toronto, so back in February. But it just would have been nice if, like, maybe, you know, hindsight is 2020. I don't even know if they knew they were doing Evolution at that point because, again, this all got booked because of AEW. But it would have been nice to be like, you know, in July, we're going to be doing this. Maybe we plant the seeds for something down the line. What looks like to be the main event, probably. Becky Lynch versus Bayley versus Lyra Valkyria. Triple threat match for the WWE Women's Intercontinental Championship. I mean, I have no doubt this match is going to be incredible. And again, it's funny because I was thinking back to, you know, the best women's matches in modern history. And again, we just saw that incredible triple threat match this past year at WrestleMania. I think the start of these great matches with the women began way back at WrestleMania 32 when they did that triple threat with Becky, Sasha, and Charlotte. I think that was like the first time where it was like, okay, this surpasses every women's match that's ever been done in WWE. If you look, a lot of the best matches that WWE has done with the women and with guys too, honestly, it's these triple threat matches. And so I have no doubt that these three are going to deliver. But also this build-up's been a little bit weird too because we've talked about it. Becky, I don't personally buy as a heel. I'm not behind it. And the Bayley and Lyra stuff seems like it kind of came out of nowhere. And the segment that they had last week, they both came off as heels. So, like, everybody's kind of unlikable right now. But
you're not wrong.
Yeah.
I got Becky has to retain.
But how do we fix it?
Oh, to make one of them babyface?
Like, what could have been better in this build?
I have Becky come out and go, "Hey, guys, I tried being a heel again. It doesn't work for me. So, you know, I'm accepting your cheers again."
Okay. All right. Did you see that T-shirt that just came out with her, for her?
No.
It's literally, it looks like someone scrawled on it, and it says, "Held down by the man," and it has like a little stick figure drawn on it, and they're selling it for $35 on the website.
Wow. I like that.
I think this could be a good story arc for Bailey and Lyra to go off and do something maybe to kind of break away from the Becky thing for a little bit. But then it's like, where does Becky go? Because I do think Becky retains. But it just feels like... So this does have some heat, kind of. But heat that I'm not really... It just feels weird. I don't want to say I'm not interested because I'm interested in the match, but it's just a weird build.
Who the hell on Raw is going to be a tag team in that tag team match? And we're saying this now, but Raw's about to be on in 40 minutes, so
Yeah.
we'll find out.
Yeah.
But, man, I'm still racking my brain over that. And then where does Becky go after this? Who's she going to feud with? There's a lot of questions, but I'm confused by so much and uninterested.
Yeah. It would have helped if we would have just built this for another month.
Didn't Kelly just sign a Legends deal?
Maybe, but I mean, is
Maybe
anybody
we
really
get
looking forward to
Kelly and Nikki Bella?
Do people want that?
No, but people don't
Okay.
even want this pay-per-view. PLE. Sorry.
I don't think they don't want it. I don't think they like the build-up. I think that's
well,
the
I
issue.
think they wanted it if it was built like a real PLE.
Yeah.
You know, if we had proper time to build everything. Because, again, we're talking the best matches at WrestleMania were stolen by the women. They have great matches. They have some great workers there. Some are suspect. Oh, Zelina Vega. Maybe she gets traded to Raw and becomes a Raw tag team.
With who?
Nikki Cross.
Okay. No, that wouldn't happen. Here's the thing.
Candice.
I guess
Candice LeRae.
who's now associated with nobody.
Nia Jax.
She was with Nia, but now
That's
she's not.
over now. You know what? I think I got a good gimmick for Candice.
What's that?
I'd put her as somebody who's like, almost like maybe a little disillusioned, and she thinks it's like the 80s. So she wears her hair big. She wears
She
loud
thinks
colors.
it's the 80s?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Why?
I just have a feeling.
Why the 80s?
I don't know. You want to go 90s?
I don't know. Does
Yeah.
that mean she wasn't born in like 1970?
That's the beauty of it.
Oh, was she like Tony Storm? But
No,
from
no.
like a big head.
Tony Storm, that's completely different.
Okay.
She thinks she's from the 50s.
I understand that, yeah, but
Yeah.
she obviously wouldn't go. Well,
I
that's
think-
dumb because she wasn't born in the fucking 50s.
I think Candice should be a Cyndi Lauper ripoff. And it culminates with Cyndi Lauper being inducted into the Hall of Fame by Candice.
Not a match or anything. She just gets inducted because Candice
That's all
started
I'm
doing
looking
a
for.
gimmick. I got you. That's the payoff. All in all, I just think what this goes to show is, you know, had this been the 80s or the 90s, it seemed like counter-programming against the competition usually worked out pretty well because you didn't have pay-per-views every month. You know what I mean? Like, you run a free show called the Royal Rumble against, what was it, the Bunkhouse Stampede, and maybe you run a Clash of the Champions for free against a WrestleMania 4. But if you
Sorry, I got it.
Jesus Christ, go ahead.
It's the one that Candice turned heel on. She was with LA Knight for a while. They were models or something.
Maxine Dupree.
Yes.
You want her?
Her and Natalia are going to win to get into the championship match. That's the only tag team I know on Raw.
Okay, but
the women.
But does that excite you?
No. No.
And you think they should be in a match over the Secret Hervis? Who I would
Did
argue
I
is
say
more-
I thought that?
No, but I'm saying-
and also maybe the Secret Hervis gets traded to Raw. And then they get a second chance because Chelsea Green's now in position of power. Tonight, she takes over for Adam Pearce, who has been food poisoned.
Anyways, you can't cross-program the competition when you already have like 10 other shows you need to build up. And I think that's where this show is suffering in general. It's an unfortunate situation for the ladies because they all work really hard. And the first Evolution felt really special. And I hope that I'm wrong. And at the last second, a bunch of people walk up to the gate and they buy 6,000 tickets. I don't know if that's going to happen, but we'll see how it does. And I think it'll be a good show regardless. But hey, follow me on social media at Gregory Iron on Instagram, Facebook.com/The Handicap Hero. Go to my new website, www.handicappedhero.com.
Nude website.
New website for all information about me. Aaron, what would you like to plug?
I'm at Fair to Air on X. And so when what used to be tweeting, I'm excrementing.
All right. Well, that's it. Follow us on Patreon for more content. Kiss goodbye.